Consciousness thing. Greg's back from the Concord Food Co-op. It's Friday. Must be. So how are you?
Good morning. Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's supposed to be very, very warm. Do a
Yes,
little yard work.
everybody
Yes.
is. But unfortunately, we're all going to go to shorts. The legs look so white. It's a little pasty color. It's,
Oh, you're going to need sunglasses.
yeah, I know.
The legs
I
are
know.
so white.
But it's okay. We've earned this one.
Yes, we have.
And it's going to be great. So what do you want to do today?
Today's topic, I love today's topic because it's perfect for me, which is easiest wellness best practices.
Oh, gee, there is
Which
a
part,
theme there.
which part
There
of
is
that
a theme
applies
there.
to you?
Easy. Okay. It's the easy.
Because recently, the wellness educators, they have told me the best thing I can do is 50% of my diet is vegetables. So,
That's
that's
right.
an easy one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Maria suggested you definitely get your 8 hours. That's 8 hours of sleep every night. So that's something I could easily do.
We're working on
Water. I'm supposed to have half my body weight in ounces. That I can do. So I'm looking for the easy.
So you're already done.
Well, I'm
okay.
coming here every Friday to get more tips. So here I sit.
I wondered why you kept coming back.
He's keeping a notebook.
Or So it's the easy way to get some easiest wellness best practices. So Peter, has anything stuck in your mind from the show as a wellness best practice, easy wellness best practice that you've put into practice?
Water. I try to do the sleep. Unfortunately, getting up at 3:45 in the morning kind of messes you up a little bit. But I know you cannot undo what you've done in the week. You can't sleep 10 hours on Saturday and that makes
up for the week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
no,
you
it
can't
doesn't
do
work
that
like that.
But I still do it. I still feel better. It's like, yay. Eating, and now we're back to getting to the point, fresh veggies, yay.
Yeah.
50%, yeah, I'm all over that.
And I was surprised it wasn't 50% fruits and vegetables. It was 50% vegetables, and that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm
to
cool
me.
with that, and the more color in my food, the better.
Yeah.
So when I'm getting reds and yellows and greens, and I know I'm doing good. I don't know why, but I know it's good, and so that's it.
And I loved Josh's tip a couple of weeks back was don't think about getting rid of a negative, just introduce a positive into your lifestyle. Yep. So instead of fighting, I have too many potato chips. Instead, take on something like I'm going to walk every day.
I think starting tomorrow. Well, it could be. But people think about this in December, January, February. They can't get out. So it's great in my head, and they're saying, well, I want to get out and I walk. I want to do this and X, Y. But I can't. It's snowing. Okay, I'll have some chips. But once the weather's warm, then they can get out. And if a body in motion tends to stay in motion. So they're out. They're walking. They're doing yard work. They're eating, drinking water, boom, 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 boom. Okay, now we're getting into a healthy routine that's hopefully going to last more than, past September. But it's a start. And so people get to act on what they've been thinking about for 5 months.
So now I get to just sit back and listen to our guest, and hopefully there's
There's another tip or two in there for you.
We'll let Dr. Otto and Allison talk. You and I'll go have coffee.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's great.
Bring some back for me.
Oh, like you couldn't do it? Give me a break. Dr. Otto is a naturopathic doctor and certified functional medicine practitioner. I love that. Her practice is at Whole Health Concord, North State Street in Concord, specializes in getting to the root cause of illnesses and reducing dependency on medications and surgery. Yay. Contact her through their website at naturalmedicinenh.com. And Allison Lellos?
Lellos.
Lellos. I like that.
What, are you going to correct her on her own name?
Hey,
I'm sorry,
I'm just saying, yeah, sorry.
She's sitting within swinging distance from me. I don't want to get it wrong. Owner of Karma Kids New Hampshire is a local teacher, yoga instructor, and health coach. She provides yoga and meditation services for children, teachers, and caregivers to support big emotions and busy lifestyles. For more information, contact Karma Kids at 568-2763 or karmakidsnh@gmail.com. There you go. Wow. Reducing dependency on medications and surgery. So good. I love that.
How much of that is positive mental attitude? Because I was struck, Greg, that you said that one of the best tips you got was think of things positively instead of negatively. Your mind really does have a lot to do with this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. The not mathematically accurate response to that would be, say 80%, diet, 20% exercise and lifestyle, 100% attitude.
Yeah.
So your attitude is it's like its own separate equation. If you
Yep.
have a poor attitude, you're not going to get anywhere.
You know, no matter what no matter what plan you put into place. Yeah.
So how do you reduce dependency on meds and surgery?
Oh man, so jeez, I thought I was going to give
great.
you
We're
easy
going for
tips.
coffee.
How much time do you have?
Someone's going to copy my words, and then we'll publish the book after the show. So that's a complicated answer.
Yeah.
What I do in practice is try to figure out not just, okay, you have this symptom or you have this disease process, so here's a medication to help try to manage that symptom, but I try to figure out why is your body presenting with that symptom? What's behind that that's caused your body to behave that way? Most symptoms are actually a response, your body's response, trying to basically adapt to a construction zone. It's like your body's trying to find a collateral route to work when there's this big roadblock in front of it, and that looks like a symptom. So what we're trying to do is figure out what that roadblock is, and if can we resolve it so that your body doesn't have this sort of bump that it's up against that's preventing it from operating normally.
So it is ostensibly a math equation. So A plus B plus C equals D. So if you see this and this and this, then it's heading you over here.
It gives you, and there might be a couple of possibilities. So you might have, some symptoms that are sort of, you might have fatigue and migraines and depression, and there could be a couple of different systems, or there could be a couple of different causes. And a lot of times I would say, rather than we're looking for one cause, there's usually multiple factors that are happening together that's causing a problem. Simply put, let's say it's, we're in a job that's overworking us, where we're unhappy, we're not sleeping enough, and our diet is impaired. Those three together are going to create a problem. Maybe if just one of those was present, it would be.
The job is the thing that's triggering B and C.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a contributing
Well, I understand
factor.
that, but from her standpoint, trying to pull a CSI on this thing to come back, okay, it's the job that's triggering the poor eating and the sleep deprivation, and if we can deal with this, then these two should come into line.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have to appreciate...
Can't wait for the book to come out.
We also want to appreciate everyone's individual genetic weaknesses. So certain people are going to be more vulnerable to developing certain types of conditions than other people. So we still pay attention to the environment and try to manipulate the environment for that patient, but acknowledging that they are unique and there might be some other support that we want to do to help guide their body or retrain their body to function differently.
So are people predisposed to bad habits?
I guess once they're used to them, once they've developed.
The way she phrased that, are you predisposed to if you've got good genes, good stuff as opposed to bad?
In a sense, I mean, you have genetic
See, it wasn't a stupid
predispositions to
question.
having, mood imbalances. Some people are more genetically more vulnerable to addiction disorders, for example.
Absolutely.
So that would be,
Okay.
you could make a case for that.
Yeah. Okay. So why are you here, Allison?
Oh man, that's a loaded question.
More deep questions.
Well,
here this
I
morning.
know. It's way too early. Can bringing me back some of that coffee you're talking about.
And I would like you to sort of address, wellness best practices. You deal a lot with children, and I'm not even sure of the ages that you deal with, but yoga and meditation for kids, and so I'd like to what are you seeing really with children or kids that you work with, and the wellness best practices for that age group?
Well, and like before the show started, Dr. Otto and I were talking just about how overwhelmed children are and how overstimulated they are. And seems like even when it comes to behavior, a quick fix is like, okay, what medication can we put them on? We're looking at just what's presenting. We're looking at the symptom, and we're not tracing it back to the cause. So
Are we still doing that?
We're still doing that.
Because it's been in the media for years that we're over medicating our kids. So we've known it's a problem. Why is it still happening?
Parents are maxed out. They're looking to their medical providers, and sometimes it takes a couple more eyes or a little more in-depth look at what the kid is dealing with or what different variables are happening in their life to kind of figure out what's going on and trying a couple different things. But I think, when we do see our kids suffering and struggling, we just want to help them.
Right.
And so it's just natural as a parent and as a caregiver to want to just take a load off them for a little bit. But also, if a kid is on medication and it's helping them, then that's wonderful. But also working on different strategies at the same time. So if they do go off of medication, or, if they are even on medication, it can lessen the burden on them. So teaching them different strategies about mindfulness, teaching them how to really just acknowledge and articulate their symptoms to an adult, but in turn, making it a family thing, like Dr. and I were Otto and I were talking about, you can't just put that on the kid, like, oh, work through your emotions, just like, tell me how you're feeling, and, go sit and think it out. Like, it has to be a whole family practice, because if they see their adults doing those things, treating their bodies well, eating good food, keeping their bodies moving,
Being mindful,
being mindful, closing the computer, being present, then the children are more likely to do that too. They're going to learn from their adults,
When we talk
positives
children,
and negatives.
age, what are you talking?
I work with all ages, but specifically the younger you can show it, the better, because they will see that from those youngest years.
It
and
goes
be able
back to we
implement
were
it
talking about
forward.
habits.
Right.
And imagine developing good, healthful, mindful habits in children.
Right.
How
Right,
do
it's
they?
never too young.
How do children slow down enough to do meditation? How do you get that to happen? I have a hard time slowing down. A child, it seems like that would be difficult.
Well, and meditation comes in all different forms too. Like, a lot of people think of traditional meditation like sitting, crossing your legs, and just spacing out. But sometimes it might be walking meditation. Maybe it's just thinking on a specific topic and just kind of letting your mind go with it, but kind of focusing on a specific thought, or just letting your thoughts flow and learning how to be still. It can be tailored to whichever age group you're dealing with. But when you are focusing on traditional meditation with younger kids, you're not going to have them sit there for 20 minutes.
Right, because
and
it's
not
not going to
stop.
happen. It's not going to happen.
Maybe
yeah.
practice for 30 seconds. And you say, like, okay, what were you feeling? Like, were you feeling any kind of jitters or bugs under your skin while you were sitting there? And then, if anything comes to mind, like, what came up for you and why are you feeling that way? And more just having them acknowledge their feelings, acknowledging that they're okay, and then practicing over time what it means to be still.
Would you say that with kids, it's like learning a language, the younger they are, the easier it is for them to learn it? Is that true?
Yeah, because exactly like learning a language. Because if it's younger, then it becomes a natural habit for them, especially if they're seeing it at home, it's happening at school, which is a whole separate issue, because teachers know that, this mindfulness, this meditation, these strategies would be helpful. Yeah. But, it's hard to implement in a busy school day.
I know. Sure. I know.
So having those tools and having it cross into different environments, be in the school, be at home, start when they're young. So then it just becomes second nature.
Right. Even if they don't fully understand, as we do as adults, what they're processing.
Well,
Right.
And to that point, though, is the resistance. To me, they would receive that as punishment. Go sit over there and be quiet. It's like that's what they're told when they're punished, versus we're doing a slightly different form of it this time.
Oh, yeah, and creating a space for it. Like, no, obviously, not putting them in a corner to meditate, but, having a nice, comfortable, welcoming space. Maybe you have a space in your home where you go and meditate together. And if it's a young kid, not having them do it by themselves, because, they will see that as like, okay, why am I over here and you're over there?
Yeah.
Like, why are you telling me to meditate, saying it's good, but you're not doing it too?
You're doing something in the kitchen. Yeah, right. That's
right.
right. Yeah.
So creating a space and having it be almost a reward thing, like, hey, we're going to slow our bodies down and let's do this together. And then it gives you something to talk about. It gives you one other way to connect after a long day and really get to know your kid and have them get to know you. If they see you being vulnerable and addressing your needs and being quiet, they emulate that. They want to look to you and do that.
You were talking about child being overstimulated. Which is more harmful, letting them stay on social media or taking social media away from them? Ooh.
That's a tricky question. I feel
Well, yeah, it's what I do.
I know. You're really good at it today.
Thank you.
Well, I feel like there's a delicate balance, because when it comes to social media technology, everyone has their parenting strategies. Everyone has their own thought process on that. I feel like social media and technology isn't all bad, because if students know about it, if kids know about it, they know what to look out for. They know how to be responsible individuals when they're using it. However, if they are using it too much, then we are robbing them of so many things. They may not be addressing their nutrition, not getting adequate meals. They're not going outside enough. They're not having that real in-person interaction. They're not learning how to socialize.
But as you talked about, the parents are busy. They don't have time to spend with you. What do? Just like our parents did to us. Go watch TV. It was babysitting.
Exactly.
It was, let me go do it. Here, you go over there. They're doing the same thing with social media until they realize it's a problem. But the parents, in many cases, help create and foster that problem.
Right, and every parent is guilty of being like, okay,
Right,
like
sure.
I need like 2 minutes.
yeah,
and you know
right,
what? It's
yep.
human. It's natural.
I get
but
that.
at the same time, letting your child struggle with being bored and being still. Like, there are times when my 2-year-old wants to go and like watch Thomas the Train, and I'm like, that would be a really easy out right now. But
Oh
hey,
yeah, but it's Thomas the Train. Come on.
I know, it's really hard to resist. Like
I know.
Percy, you know, he's my favorite. No, but if you lay out the toys and you give them options and then you let them work through it and figure it out, they're not going to go to things to be stimulated all the time.
Right.
Because the second that they have a still moment, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not occupied. I need to find something. And that's where it becomes that go-to, and that's where it becomes a huge problem.
Right.
And where we see kids just automatically go to the video games and the TV, and then that creates a bad habit going forward.
You know, it's funny, and I know we got to take a break. It's funny because my schedule goes boom, 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 fits and starts all day long. I'm obscenely busy and then quiet. I have to take time consciously when I walk by my dogs to stop, get down on the floor, and say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" You know, and because other than that, I'm just walking by.
You're
the
just
dogs,
gonna walk right by
and I'm
them,
watching
yeah.
the dogs go by me because I'm thinking it's the dogs. They love Daddy. It's all good. But I got to do that positive reaffirmation thing. It's like, you know, and just hang with them. And as a dog owner, I don't look down on them. I'm on the floor, so we're doing this. They like that. But I have to force myself, and that's with the dogs, not the kids.
Right.
But I've got to do that just to say, hey guys, to give them a reason to wag the tail.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind
Yeah.
of. So the same thing applies to parents and kids, right?
Right, getting down on the floor with them, talking to them, like not just passing by
Not
and being like,
talking
okay,
at
you're doing
them, but
great. Like,
talking
keep
to
playing,
them,
like
yeah.
engage, be involved.
Yeah.
Can we have one more question before the break? Because Dr. Otto has to.
Look at him go. Look
she,
at him go.
She has to leave at she has to leave at the break. But going back to easiest wellness best practices, do you have a number one easiest wellness best practice for us?
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick on oral hygiene today because I think that, you know,
Throw
we're
a
used to our
Good one.
dentists saying that once or twice a year, but we're not used to the rest of our doctors paying attention to this. And your oral hygiene is crucial for the rest of your health.
It really
Every
is.
system in your
It
body.
really is. Yep.
Every
Tom
disease
Raffio
condition.
says
I was
that
going
all
to
the
say,
time.
Tom's
Yeah,
been
it's
singing,
true.
Delta Dental's been singing that song for 20 years. That if you're not taking care of this, it's affecting the rest of your body.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And I will admit that in the beginning of practice, I didn't make those connections. You know, we tend to kind of split that off and let the dentist deal with that. But it is absolutely, there are so many
What made you
instances.
say, "Oh, wait a minute"? What was the triggering thing that made
Well,
you?
it was actually in part of some of my certification processes in the
okay.
last few years, and I've been more mindful of it and asking patients and creating that as part of their understanding their health history. So many issues start with, dental procedures, poor dental health diagnoses. So many patients have very inflamed gums and periodontal disease. So I've realized that by clearing up those issues, we see a reduction in pain, we see a reduction in inflammatory markers, reduction in cholesterol levels, and so on and so forth. So I
great.
think that's the easiest thing you can do is brush and floss every day.
But I like the fact that you've integrated those into your practice,
Very
which is
holistic.
more mainstream.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Well, just looking at it from a different, a wholer perspective, if you will.
All right, it is what 8:51.
Yes, sir.
Greg only paid her to be here for 20 minutes. She's got to leave. So, Dr. Otto, it's great seeing you. Please come back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
When's
Thank you,
the book
please.
coming out?
Next week.
There we go. There we go.
She'll be back vlogging the book. That's
Might be,
great.
baby.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with more right after this. Allison Lellos, still here, owner of Karma Kids NH. You do the yoga, the meditation services for children, teachers, and caregivers. How quickly are the teachers picking this up and incorporating this into their stuff with the kids, their interactions?
Well, it really helps to, once you go and you work with the students and you work with the teacher, to provide them with, something physical, something written out so they can use it in the future. So maybe having little cue cards, little strategies that you can pull to work with the kids. But it's something that you can integrate immediately.
No. The teachers warm to this? They like it?
Oh, yeah. And just being a teacher myself, I used it in my own classrooms, and the kids love it because it gives them a chance to get up, to move around, to move their body, maybe get a little silly. But also, if it's been a stressful day, maybe they've had a test that day or something like that. Taking a moment just to be quiet and relax and kind of go inside and kind of restart before continuing on with their day.
And this is in public schools or private schools?
Everywhere, yeah.
And is it a certain age group that the teachers are most interested in with their students, or
It tends to be middle school.
Middle school.
Because this is when the emotions really start coming out. Kids start hitting puberty. They start getting confused about what's happening with their body. And they just start feeling off. They know things are changing. They don't know how to control it. And so it gives them an opportunity to kind of put a movement to it, or just at least be still and work through it and kind of have a moment to themselves to really reflect on their feelings. And it's a good strategy to use at this age too, because they're going to have so much more outside stimulation and messages from social media, from friends, that they're really going to need some strategies to hold on to.
Daily, weekly, what are you looking at?
Daily.
Oh,
yeah.
5, 10,
there's
10 minutes?
you're
How long?
awake so much during the day. A meditation at any point would is a great restart.
Yep.
And pairing that with yoga, just because kids, during the day they want to move, and they're moving less and less at school, with recesses being cut shorter, or gym
Right.
classes being cut or
Yep.
made shorter.
We used to love recess.
I know.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It was
And
great.
now all the research is pointing to the fact that it's key.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
yes,
Yeah.
because kids can't perform if they have been sitting and not having that body break. Like, even
Right.
for us adults, like, how long can you sit and work and then get to a point where you're not productive anymore? The same
Right.
things for kids. So much.
See, I would think that would stimulate creativity as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. How often do we get up and walk around? It's like, oh yeah, there's that brilliant idea.
Yeah, there it is. When I
Have
wasn't
you ever
even
heard
thinking
the
about
show? It happens daily.
So I'm fast. I've got this image of all these kids doing yoga together, and I how that would even work, or how they would be receptive to it, or I would just somehow find it comical watching them all.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
Is it just the kids? That you have classes just for kids, or is it kids and their parents? What both?
Both, because it's important that, to offer a variety of things. So it can be just with kids. It can be teachers with kids in a classroom. It can be children with their parents. Again, tying back to that, showing your kids what you would like
together
them to
thing.
do, and being
do as
together.
I do, not as I say.
Right. And having it be either private, like a parent and their children, or, a small group of kids. Really tailoring it to what a classroom's needs are, a household's needs are. So no, all ages and all types of groups welcome. It benefits everybody.
Yeah,
I
it
would
does.
Think, I would think the parents would be behind this.
Yeah.
And then they would be supportive.
Well, and because so many parents, just like teachers, they want to implement it. They know, they're reading about the benefits. Like, you can't look anywhere without seeing, like, benefits of yoga and meditation and mindfulness. But they don't know how to start it. They don't know how to implement it. So if you have someone that can guide you through it and say, hey, try these strategies, it takes the guesswork out. And
I hear you. Allison, thanks. Greg, we
Hey,
got about
no
20
problem.
seconds.
20 seconds.
Easter?
Easter. Yeah, I wanted to hear your number one tip for wellness, though.
it's got to be movement.
Movement.
Yeah.
It's got to be movement.
I'm with you. And I think we just talked about it.
Brevity wins every time.
Yeah, and we'll too bad we don't have the time. I wanted to hear about Easter candy and what to avoid there, but
Oh man, that's for another
All of it.
time. I'll
I
have to
know.
come back.
Yeah.